What's your line? What's your line for, I think this will be good content?
I was on YouTube and just consuming content, and I found a video of his 80cc 2019 run. And that's why we call this a grappling show. It's all just blurring.
I get 3 minutes in and I'm like, I can't watch this. Like, I am so bored.
I'm the same way.
Welcome back, episode 4 of the Toehold Show. I'm Ryan.
Mike, what's up, guys?
And we're back with a new topic today.
Yeah, we're going to talk about, what are we talking about? We're talking about how to find good content online.
Yeah, and how, generally, how the internet, too, has shaped modern grappling.
Yeah, because we've touched on that, I think, all the way back to episode 1. And it's an important thing to touch on because, I mean, you and I are where we're at because of the internet, like we said. Like,
for sure. We have, and as putting credit where credit's due, we come from a great gym, a small gym, but a great gym, lots of talented people at all levels. But I certainly can say on top of that, certainly my game has progressed exponentially because of the internet.
Yeah. No, I think you're right with the way you say that, because like you can be at an awesome, top-notch, top quality gym and that's good, but like you're only going to be as good as that and everybody else in the room. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's like the cool thing about jiu-jitsu, judo, grappling, whatever, is like if you go out and you find something on your own, that little extra new spice you throw into the gumbo pot and you bring it back, that's what can just, kind of differentiate you from the rest of the room, you know what I mean?
And this is not a new concept either. I think it applies to just about anything.
For sure.
The person who they're pursuing some sort of academic pursuit and they also read a lot of literature, or or in my case, in undergrad I studied film. Yeah. But 98% of what I learned was definitely from the internet.
Yeah.
Like I didn't become good at things like that until YouTube and the internet. So applying that principle to jiu-jitsu.
Yeah. There's a lot out there, and it's not all hidden behind pay for DVDs anymore. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But with that is kind of the kind of key point of this topic is how do you sort through the stuff that's just garbage?
Yeah.
A lot of free and accessible, but like there's some really amazing stuff out there that's totally free and accessible, and there's other stuff that's just so hokey and like
like Instagram stories. They're not all bad, but I like when you off camera your telltale sign of that it's going to be
the finger wag.
The finger wag.
If you see somebody start a video, especially if it's silent and they're like they do something and they're like just like overemphasizing how difficult it is, like an old infomercial. Yeah,
that's what it is.
They're like, this doesn't work.
Right.
Here's check this. Like,
and it becomes as cheesy as an infomercial.
As soon as you see that, just walk away. Just scroll past. Go somewhere else. Trust me. Like the chances of you finding something good out of a video that takes that approach to it, slim to none.
Okay, so right off the bat, what's your, just generally speaking, before we delve too far into it, what's your line? What's your line for, I think this will be good content?
Like, how do I know if it's good content?
Yeah. Instead of just, the danger, generally speaking, is devouring all the content. And that goes for everything. Again, this could be, it's specifically about grappling here, but, on any subject, if you just take all of it, you're getting a lot of garbage.
Well, the internet's pure truth. Everything's true, right?
Yeah.
No,
I learned a lot of great conspiratory theories on the internet. Some of them are great. Some of them.
It's hard for me to like really put it into words. This is one where we're just gonna have to explore this. But like, I know, like when my wife was starting out in jiu-jitsu a few years ago, at this point, she would like show me stuff that would come up on Instagram, because when you start doing grappling, you're all about it. Like you're You just like hit the lifestyle and stuff like that. You're just like, I want to consume as much of
Yeah.
this as I can.
For sure.
So she's like following stuff, and like something would come up. She'd show me, and she's like, is this legit? Like, is this good? And I would look at it with experienced eyes and go, oh, that's bogus. Like, nobody's going to do that. Or, oh, no, that is actually good. So I guess for me, it's just working off of my experience to know when I see somebody doing something, is it a realistic position? Is it a realistic movement that you're going to encounter in an actual grappling situation?
Right.
Not just jiu-jitsu, but judo too, you know,
Right.
because, if you find a jiu-jitsu account that's showing you a judo throw, be wary. This coming from the judo
That's
guy,
fair.
okay?
Yeah, that's fair.
Just be wary. They're not all bad.
What was that meme in the Discord the other day? I was just like, just pull guard. Just pull
Yeah,
guard.
Rob sent something. What he said, like when you find out the new guy's a judo black belt. And it's like,
Pull guard.
everybody pull.
Yeah.
So like, I guess that's it. It's just, for me, that's how I discern it. But I know that's hard, and that's why it's a good topic to talk about. Like, it's hard for people when they're starting out and they don't know what's realistic and what's not because they don't have enough experience. Like, how do you differentiate it? How do you go about it? Do you have something that's like?
Well, I was the same way, right? Everybody is. When you get into jiu-jitsu, or when you're, you get back into it, or you have a burst of interest and energy, whatever it is.
Yeah.
When that big inspiration comes, you want to consume everything. I was lucky enough, and I don't know why, because I don't think it was a conscious decision at first, but I mean, on some level it must have been, but I instantly was like, I only want to learn from the best people.
Mm-hmm.
So even when I didn't have the that discerning eye, I didn't have the experience to be like, that would work, that wouldn't. I just started with, I'm only going to watch stuff that is credible sources, competitors, high-level competitors at that. Because and maybe even to a fault. There's probably guys that, I've never heard of, or they don't have a following. They made a couple videos. It's probably good stuff, but I wouldn't watch it because I really didn't want to poison the well. I wanted to be like,
and when you don't know, it's better to stay where you know it's safe.
And then it kind of just grew into that, like, I want to learn from people who are better than me. I know these guys are better than me.
Yeah.
And so just started only watching, whether it was instructionals or even just rolls. Only watching guys that I knew were either just high level or professionals or whatever.
Right. Yeah. That's a good point, and I think that's like the first point I had on my outline for this one is like just looking for qualified, trusted people, and you can't go too far wrong if you just pick who's winning the top tournaments. I mean, who's top of the table at ADCC?
Right.
Chances are they have what they know works.
They have something to offer.
They've won at the highest level, right? So they may not be the best teacher. They may not be able to present it in the best way that's easily digestible for everybody, but what they have is actually legit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like you can trust, at least that's good.
Right. They've got a proven system. It may be very specific. I think a lot of guys have a very specific, we talked about this before, that very specific, like this guy's good at this or this, but then you learn that from them and implement it into your game. Especially
if you go and you find somebody like that and you're like, okay, this guy is an amazing leg locker or whatever. Like, okay, I'm going to follow what he shows on leg locks. Like if they start showing stuff on something completely off, like, oh, here's half guard, but they're never using their half guard system to win the tournaments. You know what I mean?
Right.
If they're known for something and they can pull it off when all the high level people in the room know that they're going to do it, that's something worth looking into. Yeah,
we've discussed that scenario before, for sure. Yeah. If they can do it when you know they're going to do it, then they're...
When the top of grappling all knows that guy's going to go for that. He's going to pull the K guard. He's going to go for the outside ashi. He's going to do this.
Right.
And they just find a way to happen. That's somebody that you could probably, if you find some instructional content, you're pretty safe there.
Yeah.
It may not connect, but it's not going to be hokey and bad.
Right. My exception to the only time I'll watch what could be, just like silly garbage or just fun consumption.
Yeah.
Like maybe I'll watch a YouTube channel of a YouTuber. Say, there's the bigger guys in each category or whatever, and sometimes I'll watch some YouTube videos, but not generally. I won't generally watch those for instruction.
Yeah.
I'll watch those for entertainment.
Yeah.
It's because I don't know who these guys are generally. Generally, YouTubers are not big competitors.
Right.
At least some of the big channels. But I'll watch it for funny stuff or for they have a typical YouTube thing like black belt versus boxer, funny, and you're like, oh, that's funny, I'll watch that.
Right, just for entertainment
purposes, and that's fun, but certainly not for.
And that's totally fine if you want to follow stuff and you find the finger waggers and you want to just consume that because it's entertaining to you. Cool, but like. When it comes to your actual education of technique and development, you got to be a little bit more discerning on what you take in and say, no, this is something that is legitimate or not,
Right. Well, in your home gym, you trust your professors, your peers.
Yeah.
You know them on some level where you can be like, okay, and work together and learn. But the old strangers on the internet, like I don't know who these people are unless they have a proven track record, which is why I've been so almost like stuck up about it. Like, not really, but like, I'm only going to do that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you don't want to find something that's not good and then fill it into your game as thinking it's something I can rely on when it isn't.
Right. Well, yeah, like anything. Again, you don't want to fill your head with garbage. And if I see garbage too much, like then it's in your head.
Right.
Plus, I have limited space for that sort of stuff.
Yeah. Limited capacity.
But
like, you don't want to develop bad habits.
No.
You know what I mean? If there's something that's legitimately just not going to work, it's going to just leave you frustrated, right? And then you're just going to have a bad taste about grappling, and you might be one of those blue belts that don't make it all the way,
Or a move that you think like, I can't do that, or that one doesn't work for me.
Yeah.
Because you were doing it wrong.
Right. Because you just didn't have a good, competent, what do I want to say, like comprehensive instruction of what is it and how does it work.
Right.
And that's the thing, that's a point in itself is like instruction needs to have, in my opinion, it needs to have some level of explanation with it. It can't all just be like, just watch this and do what we do. To the point you made, like, you can watch competition stuff, high-level competition stuff, and you will find things, if you've got enough of an eye, you've done it enough, you'll find things out of that, and you'll be like, okay, this is something good I can pull out and put into my game, or, oh, I didn't ever realize he could do that combo from this position to that one. That's pretty cool. I'm going to try that. But, so there's like, there's a really big school. I'm not going to name names. They have a very big program. It's available online.
We'll name it behind a paywall.
Yeah. I subscribed to it, and I thought, okay, this will be good. I'll go through the curriculum and stuff. And I'm like watching it, and there's not a single spoken word in it at all.
Interesting.
It's just the master just demonstrating these techniques, and they're like put on
Does
the
it
screen.
play out like BJJ Fanatics, where it's literally like an instructional?
Kind of. They're just like, okay, this is the technique, and they put like a name on the screen, like overlay it, and then they just do it, and they just do it a bunch of times in different angles, and then that's
Weird.
it. And I was like, yeah, this is a waste of my money.
I couldn't even watch that just out of boredom.
It was awful. It was really awful. And the previous versions that they had were good because they had an instructor who actually talked you through, why are you doing this? What is the concept here? And it was like, okay, now I know why I'm doing. I'm not just copycatting, right? And it actually worked. But then they reshot it, and they're like, oh yeah, the master is gonna show us his techniques. It's amazing and an honor. I'm like, well, this is garbage, so I'm not gonna pay for it. But that's one of those things of like, this is from a source that's supposed to be top tier, top level. I mean, there's top people that are affiliated with this system, and I'm watching. I'm like, this is garbage. Like, I can't imagine watching this as somebody who doesn't have enough experience to discern why is what they just did, why does that work?
My attention is too deficited to even watch that. Like, I would get so bored. If it's going to be an instructional, we're watching somebody good, and we can name names later, but I want it to be an instructional and, have a coach walk you through it, all that.
Yeah.
I will say, however, I have learned a lot from watching high-level guys roll.
For sure.
Now, you got to rewind, watch over and over,
Yeah.
watch the details, because at first glance, maybe you didn't see the foot was hooking the leg, or you
Right.
didn't see minute details. So,
But that's a live resistance situation.
sure.
And so what you're seeing is actually working against
Right,
somebody who's
right.
actually trying to make it not work.
Right.
Like,
And
that's legit.
and
Without
I've
the
learned-
commentation or
I've
not.
learned a lot from that too. And it, I don't think you could, you will miss out on details without a coach explaining something
Right.
to you.
Yeah.
But I have learned a lot from watching live rolls and competition. It's kind of like watching tape in football or whatever sport,
Right.
right? You watch tape on your opponents or whatever. I definitely have learned a lot from that.
Right. And you
Um,
can, for sure.
yeah.
I learn a lot watching competition footage. This is why I like watching professional grappling events, like
Right.
combat jujitsu or who's number one, things like that on like Fight Pass and whatnot, flow grappling. You're going to see the techniques that are actually working against the top people. And as long as you can see it enough and you can rewind it, like you said,
Yeah.
you can pick it up, and
Yeah.
whatever you pick up is going to work because there's the proof.
Yeah, you can also, if you cross-reference stuff too, that helps
Yes.
a lot. So you see something in a match, in a live match,
Yeah.
and you're like, that's awesome. Then do your deep dive,
Yeah.
like, whatever it is. Let's say it's whatever, it's some sort of a heel hook, okay,
Yeah, yeah.
and it's from a certain position or whatever. Then look that up. Then from the results, filter through, like, I don't know who Johnny Joe is. I don't know who this is.
Right.
And you're like, oh, there's somebody I know teaching the same
Yeah.
move. Then you've both seen it in action, and
Right.
now you have a legitimate coach, teacher, whatever, to explain it and break it down. That I think is a good.
For sure. That's one of my favorites, is to, like, if I'm scrolling Instagram, which is kind of the platform I get on if I get on anything, if I see something that's like, here's a competition example of some amazing thing, and then they cut and they break it down and show it to you, it can be extremely detailed, a lot of good discussion or not. That's good. You know what I mean? Like, that is good stuff, because it's not just some random person that nobody knows in their own gym, in their own training space with a non-resisting opponent, showing you, do this one amazing trick and it'll work forever. Like,
With always terrible video and audio quality, by the way.
and it's like, well, based on what? Why do you claim that that's going to work?
Yeah.
Where's the proof in the pudding? Like, come on.
Yeah. I would legitimately feel better about a lot of these videos if they just like took the time to shoot a nice video and have good audio and stuff.
Yeah, that
I
helps
swear,
too.
I don't know. People need to step up just the quality. Just make your quality a little better.
Yeah, it's not that hard to do bare minimum.
Right.
But-
Not that would make it any more legit, but I make it more watchable.
I mean, you could have somebody with an amazing production staff that just is complete garbage.
Right.
So,
Yeah.
like the example I was listening before, I mean, it was top notch, like high end production,
Wow.
like stuff, but it was bad.
Interesting.
But it was the same thing. It wasn't competition stuff. It was, like you said, if there's no words, it's competition. I can watch that and get some of it. It's just a guy with a partner in a blue mat training room
Yeah.
doing stuff.
That's a lot of the silly moves you'll see too. And some of them will work and some of them won't.
Yeah.
But like, you'll be scrolling through like stories or whatever, and a lot of stuff looks awesome when the other guy's just laying there or, letting you do it.
Yeah.
And then, in real life, you're like, with resistance and stuff, you're like, how would that ever?
Right. Well, because they didn't show you that piece.
Right.
They didn't show you how does it work under resistance,
Right.
which is entirely different than no resistance.
Again, why I watch a lot of live, like real competition footage and stuff.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, and here's the one that I touched on a little bit there. It was like the one simple trick things. I mean, we all know. You go to a website and you see the little ads in the corner, like one simple trick to do this.
Right.
Like, don't consume that for your jujitsu, your judo. Like, there are no one simple shortcut tricks in jujitsu.
No.
There's a reason why, like, I've been at this 12 years now.
Right.
Like, if there was a shortcut out there, everybody would find it,
Right.
And it wouldn't be what it is. You know what I mean? Like there aren't one simple trick. There's no shortcut. There's no like this one move black belts hate works every time. Like just forget that.
Most of the you know, the professionals, the guys you like to watch, have put in so much time. There's always the freaks that have only been doing it for 4 or 5 years. I say only, but like 5 years, and they're doing it like 6-7 days a week.
Right.
So the shortcut is like, I mean, I hate to say it, but the shortcut is just train as much as you can and learn as much as you can. It's like anything. Like if you want to be a specialist, a professional, and whatever, like you have to do it a lot. You have to absorb it a lot.
Do the time. You gotta get in.
There's not, like you said, there's not a shortcut. The shortcut is just cramming as much in as you can, but like, there's no shortcut.
And it has to be cramming in good stuff.
Yeah, it can't be
garbage.
What I mean? Sure.
You think of somebody like, what is it? Joseph Chen, right?
Chen,
I mean, he's kind of notable for having learned a lot of what he has by the modern system of finding stuff online, right? I mean, obviously he has high level teams that he trains with.
Yes.
But like he's an example of if you consume enough good stuff that's out there, you can get better, like very, very good.
He's really young still, and he's really good. But like even him, like I've read some stuff and watched some stuff about him, and like he's still been doing it for like I don't want to misquote it, but I mean 6 years or 7, whatever.
It's still a
since he was a young teenager, and then he's consuming all this content, and whatever the guy, he's an enigma, but he's traveling around to the best gyms, and putting in work all the time. So, you know, again, like it looks like, oh, he's an overnight phenom, but like, he's a phenom because of his incredible digestion of all this information, and then just his incredible work ethic of always.
Yeah, if you're like a casual training hobbyist, which there's nothing wrong with, and you train like 2 times a week, and maybe you consume some online content of jiu-jitsu a couple nights a week, like Joseph Chen's done the equivalent of like 14 years of that person's time in 5 or 4 years.
That's exactly what I was gonna say. It's like, and that, like what you said, that's a great example too. If you want to do that, that's awesome, and you're gonna get better and better and better. But it's gonna take a while. That's why it takes so long. To get to the higher belts, to get to the ultimate, to get to black belt, all that stuff. It's a lot of work. It's a lot of everything, and but you have these freaks that are just doing it. Not everyone can afford. Most people can't afford to do that with their time, with their money, anything. But no matter how you do it, it's a lot of work.
It is. It goes to the point is there's no shortcut. It's just how dense is your training, right? The density of training. Is it really airy and fluffy and spread out over a long time? Or do you take the same amount of content and stuff it into a very dense, compact thing? That's the only way it's going to look like it's a shortcut. So if you see videos out there that are just obviously like clickbait like that, like black belts hate this one move, or the one simple trick to dominate your training partners, there's a really good chance you're not going to get something actually useful out of that. And you're going to just look like a clown.
No, because it is clickbait, and they're just trying to get a ton of views and whatever.
Exactly. They're just trying to get a bunch of followers on Instagram, a lot of likes. They're not there with your interest at heart of trying to give you something good that's going to help your jiu-jitsu or your judo.
They're trying to get numbers.
Exactly. That's all they care about. They don't care about you.
That's okay. That's what social media is, but that's why you, as a practitioner, as the consumer of the information, you have to have the discretion. So
exactly. And that's the whole point of the topic that we have. So let's see what else we got. So like kind of circling back to kind of put a pin in what we said before, like find examples of techniques from actual competitions with real resistance from actual teachers, and one of those ones that like I'm going to throw out, which I know you guys, anybody who's listened to this has heard me talk about, Lachlan Giles. I love Lachlan. He's an amazing teacher. He's so detailed without being too pompous and over the top. Like Danaher is just a little too much.
I like his personality. He's soft spoken. He seems like a friendly guy. I mean, I don't know him, but like he's just always even keel, and And, you know, he's what, a physiologist or something? So
yeah, basically, like in the States, it'd be the equivalent of like a PT, you know, a physical therapist.
Right. So he like, you know, he comes to it from a very scientific medical standpoint.
Yeah. Yeah. And I didn't know his name before, you know, so if I had stumbled across a instructional, I would have been like, who's this guy? I don't know him. But I was on YouTube and just consuming content, and I found a video of his 80cc 2019 run where he went through the absolute division, just like destroyed these giants.
And he's a small guy, by the way.
He's a little dude, and he's like taking down Keenan Duarte. And it was like, what?
He actually, that run didn't end until he hit Gordon Ryan.
Mm-hmm.
Insane. And a prolific content creator. So there's a ton out there.
Oh, he has so much.
And then, you know, if you want to go further, he has, what is it? Submeta.
Submeta. Yeah. And that's the one
you can subscribe to. And
because it's hard. Like, where do you go for the trusted content, which segues us into the next thing? It's like, where do you go to get the good stuff? The stuff that is legit, that is not free necessarily. And probably there's some paywall to it. Right.
Yeah.
Submeta, you can't go wrong, because Lachlan is amazing. He's got the track record to prove it, like at the highest level of competitions. And so his content is good. So when you find stuff from him, whether it be on his Instagram with stuff he shared, or if you subscribe to Submeta and you go through his whole curriculum of systems that are very well laid out, it's going to be good. Like, you're not going to go astray. You're not going to develop bad habits by learning from somebody who doesn't have the proof to say that what they're telling you actually does work on the high levels. He can. And that's one of those things of like, when you go dive into like the paid content, like BJJ Fanatics or Jiu Jitsu X, which I'm a big fan of that platform, Judo Fanatics, stuff like that. You know, you want to look for stuff that is complete and systematic. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Something that connects back to all the concept. It's built around a concept, and then it give you techniques that fit that concept in a circular kind of flow chart way that is a system, not just a pile of, hey, here's a bunch of cool leg locks.
Yeah.
Okay, great, but how do they relate?
I don't know if anybody does that better than Lachlan Giles.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that is why, like, I can recommend him highly. Like, we're not sponsored.
No.
I get nothing if you go subscribe to Submeta, unless, you know, Lachlan likes our show and wants to send donate. But you know, it's just us telling you, like, this is good content. It's good, it works, like, you're not gonna go wrong.
For the record, B Team in Austin is now on Submeta as well.
They are, yeah.
Yeah. And you know, they're of course they're known for their fearless and chaotic leader, Craig Jones.
Yep.
Who again, some great funny content to watch.
It's entertaining.
He doesn't teach a lot. There are some good videos of him teaching stuff because he did study under Lachlan. They're good pals, and he does have some good videos. But mostly he's known for being the biggest troll, maybe in professional sports.
I think that title.
But I will say when he does teach stuff, it's really good, and I'm sure their Submeta is really good. They've got some really good teachers on the team too. For me, I don't think anyone can explain a move outside of like people like Lachlan better than Nicky Ryan.
Dude, Nicky Ryan's good stuff.
Nicky Ryan's attention to detail is incredible. So I'm sure I haven't seen their stuff on there, but again, you can find what's great about the internet is you can find a lot of this for free on YouTube, and then you can say, okay, I like this person, I like the way they teach, and then look for the paywall stuff.
Exactly. You can get the sample.
You can sample it out. But man, Nicky Ryan can explain a move like crazy, and some of the other guys too. Ethan Krellenston, I really like him
for sure.
He's very technical. He's very good at teaching. So that's neat too. They're on Submeta.
All
as
the
well.
B team guys are really good when they're not trolling. Like they can really give you good stuff.
Yeah.
Their Submeta thing isn't quite the same as Lachlan's.
Okay.
Lachlan's is laid out in like sections of, okay, here's a deep half guard section, here's a K guard section, here's an open guard section. B team is mostly live roll stuff and commentary, which like we were saying is very good stuff. So like they'll put, like, you can find a lot of that on their YouTube, but it doesn't always have the commentary with it. They'll just put the live roll stuff.
Yeah, there's some of that. I've seen some
a little bit, but it's usually kind of that teaser. I guess they've from what I've seen, they've mostly used their Submeta platform to do the deeper dive to that roll
that's
content,
interesting.
which is good. I mean, if that's the way you prefer to consume it, is I want to see, you know, actual live techniques and live resistance from top tier people and have them explain it to me.
Right. So I would probably like
really
that because,
good.
like, you know, as I mentioned, like that's where, you know, sometimes some of these dry tutorials are rough.
They are.
And again, dude, I mean, I don't mean to harp on it, but like the quality and the audio kills me.
Yeah.
And then you got like, you know, not to pick on Danaher, but like him explaining some long-winded thing and then like
sometimes, man.
Oh, dude, I'm just like I know how good he is, or I know how good Gordon is, or you know, and they have them on BJJ Fanatics or whatever. And like I get 3 minutes in and I'm like, I can't watch this. Like I am so bored.
I'm the same way. I can't consume Danaher stuff. I know he's good. He's looked at as like one of the best coaches in the world when it comes to grappling.
And he makes some great points. I've listened to some stuff. He says some great stuff. I'm just not picking on him because it goes for other ones too. And like part of it is like the quality really bugs me. You know, and part of it is just like sometimes a really dry explanation. I just, I have a hard time paying attention and I'm like, I can't do this. So if you're like that, and for me, watching a roll that happened, a real roll, and then having someone very articulate like Nicky Ryan, break it down and say, here's what's happening, here's why I did this. Like, I like that a lot.
Yeah. Even like I got the was it Lachlan Giles open guard system where he goes through K guard, De La Hiva, stuff like that.
Yeah.
And I liked that there was kind of the training room explanation with the guy, like showing all the different positions and how to go through it. But then at the end of every section, he almost always did a live rolling section where he just kind of scrubbed through a video of him training and be like, okay, so the concept we talked about, this is what I was trying here, but that didn't work, so I went here. And it's like, oh, now it clicks. It has context to it. I know where to use it when it's not going to work.
That's important.
He's telling you, look, I went for this. It's not a magic bullet. I didn't get it.
Right.
It doesn't make it bad technique. It's just I didn't get it. That's the reality. So again, there's no one magic secret trick that's always going to work.
Yeah, even the classics, even all the stuff you learn early on, the arm bars, like how many times you just snag an arm bar? Like
you have to modify and adapt it to the situation. I mean, that's what's cool about grappling is it's a live resistance thing. It's a live organic process. No one roll is ever going to be the same as another.
Yeah.
Let alone even if it's the two same people.
Yeah.
Within a reasonably close time frame. Like you and I can have a roll one day, come back the next day and roll again, and it's nothing alike at all.
Always different outcomes too, especially when you can be competitive with each other and you're like, different outcomes all the time. Different. So continuing on, touching on a few of those. So the Submeta platform, one of the best.
Yep.
BJJ Fanatics, there's a lot of free stuff. A lot of people in the community know about it. Yeah. Some of it can be dry, but you can also learn a lot. I've learned stuff from that. What do you have other ones that you like as well?
Like I said, I like Jiu Jitsu X. It's one that I don't think a lot of people have heard about, but they have, in my opinion, they have a little bit better consistent production quality versus like BJJ Fanatics.
That's nice.
It really is, because some of the BJJ Fanatics stuff is just really bad audio, real bad video.
They need to step it up. And that goes for like anything. Like, man, like you can take a little time, just get good audio and good video. Good video is a dime a dozen. I mean, you can get good video with anything now. So get good audio. Yeah. And that'll make it way better. And I just, there's some, Flow Grappling does that sometimes. Like sometimes I'd rather watch a match on something where they don't mess up. Like when UFC Fight Pass does grappling.
Oh my gosh.
Because you'll watch a Flow event and like, something will happen. The audio will be garbage, or like the cameraman wandered off or something. I just like, dude, it's not that hard.
Dude, it happens on, all right, we're going to tangent here. Because it happens on UFC.
It's obviously bothering
me. I'm going to go into this tangent.
Right.
Because like, this is one of the things I've wanted to talk to you about on the side because I watch stuff on UFC Fight Pass, like the Eddie Bravo stuff, CJJ,
Eddie Bravo.
stuff like that. Eddie Bravo's awesome.
You can learn a lot from Eddie Bravo too. Look up some Eddie Bravo stuff on.
That's right.
I don't know of a specific resource he has other than there's a ton of stuff online because he's super famous. So
yeah, I mean, I think it's all kind of buried into the 10th planet system. You know what I mean?
You can learn about the flat Earth. You can learn about heel hooks.
Yeah, fun stuff. And you'll learn a lot of weird names for everything that nobody else in jiu-jitsu will
know. That's why I don't learn the names. Yeah.
But to that point, like I just want to say, like, sometimes I'm watching an event and like the camera shakes and it goes all over the place, or like the one commentator's mic is like jacked super loud,
Blasting.
and then the other guy that's like super technical, like Brandon McCatherine, who's awesome.
Oh, there's
so
another
good.
one. We're coming across some.
Yeah, he's good and he's a good commentator, but it's almost like they've got his mic turned down to like 1 and he's whispering, and it's like I can't hear this.
What is
going
on?
I'm like jacking the volume up, and then all of a sudden the match ends and the main commentator comes on. It's like boom.
Yeah,
like,
overmodulated, and
you guys need to get a better production team here.
I know. I don't understand that. Like one thing I learned early on when you make videos is like, first of all, everything's good now, right? Your phone's good, everything's good.
Yeah.
So if you get the audio right, chances are the video is going to be just fine as long as the cameraman isn't wandering off or whatever.
Shaking all over the place.
It's not that hard. Like, it's a growing sport, and this could be applied to other, there's other things that need better production value, but like just stuff, jiu-jitsu is a huge growing sport. Like, just make sure you present it nicely. People don't want to watch if it's garbage,
especially if you're paying. Right.
Especially if you're paying.
I mean, let's face it. Some of these instructionals that you find on BJJ Fanatics and stuff, I mean, they are freaking expensive. Yeah. Like, I mean, we're talking like $200, $300, $400. Like, if I'm going to drop that kind of money, of course, you never buy anything full price on BJJ Fanatics.
They're going to go on sale. Don't worry.
You wait 2 seconds and there's going to be a 40% off plus coupon. Okay.
Yeah.
Don't ever pay
Give us a
price.
coupon. We'll promote it. By the way.
Yeah. But like, if I'm going to drop $200 for a sale price on a full instructional from somebody that's a qualified person, like, the last thing I want is to hit play and have terrible audio, terrible camera angles where I can't see they're like talking about a leg over here doing something, but it's the training partner and their body are in the way. Like, I can't see what you're doing. It wouldn't
be that
man.
hard to have 2 cameras.
How difficult is that?
I don't know.
Like, I don't know. Like, there's also people on like Instagram who do a better job with like cell phones to get you better views.
I will compliment on the B Team YouTube, on the free YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
They've got just the wireless mics from Rode. I believe they're Rode mics. They're just square little mics. You just clip them on.
Mm-hmm.
Audio's fine. It's just fine. So
I mean, if you get like really squished, it gets a little
it gets a little muffy or whatever. But like for most of the video, like and that's like a $150 solution. Like it's real easy.
Jiu Jitsu X does that. That's why I like their platform. Like, all their videos are recorded in a like a space that's what do you call it? Like the infinity wall.
Oh yeah.
It's just white, like the mat space, but you don't see a corner, and it's all white all the way.
Awesome. Yeah.
So it's not distracting. You don't have some goofy logos on the wall. You don't have whatever. It's just there, and they have good mics clipped onto the instructor.
It's not that hard. It's not that hard.
And they do have like 2 or 3 camera angles that they'll flip between. So I'm like, this is good production.
You can buy all this stuff on Amazon, by the way. Like, we've got some lights. I'll put that in the description. You want to buy some lights for your video? Because lighting goes a long way.
Yeah.
We'll put these lights in the description. Yeah. Super cheap on Amazon. And as long as we're on equipment, we'll put some of our equipment in the links below. And if you like them, we'll make them affiliate links.
Hey, maybe we can help some people out to make some better content.
Yeah,
wink, wink.
Yeah, but we digress. Brandon McCatherine, right? Yeah, he's great. He's got a great
10th Planet guy.
10th Planet guy. Got a great YouTube channel. Is a great play-by-play kind of guy.
Really nice dude. Like, he's just a good guy, and he like cares about his students, and he's like really technical, but also very practical person. You know what I mean? He's just not gonna fluff around with stuff. He's just gonna go to the point. Like, hey, this works.
And I like his channel. He shows some good stuff. You know who else I like? I don't know if you ever come across the Chewjitsu channel.
Yeah, Chewy.
So I don't watch Chewy's. He doesn't do a lot of moves, but he's got some good advice. People ask him like more like lifestyle questions and stuff.
Yeah,
seems like a great dude, straight shooter. Shout out to Chewjitsu. We'll put that down there.
He's got his own podcast, I think.
Does he?
Yeah.
So he seems like a cool dude. I'd like to meet that dude.
He's a good thing to consume some content, but you're right. Like he's done some stuff in the past that are like, you know, like technical breakdown stuff, but it's not his forte.
I've never even watched any of those, but like just his like they ask him questions, life advice, stuff about jiu-jitsu, and I think that's a cool. There's all these kind of sub topic channels beyond just instructionals that are fun. Like if you just
not all technique.
It's not all technique.
Yeah.
B Team's killing it. They don't even need a shout out, but like their YouTube's funny. It's usually just funny stuff, feel good stuff, a lot of joking around.
Right.
But in the midst of it, you see a lot of cool high level rolls from high level guys.
Right.
Chewy stuff's great. Life advice. I don't know. I don't watch a ton because I don't like the ones who I don't know who's giving me advice.
Yeah.
So there's obviously others. Do you have any other ones that come to mind?
One that I want to shout out to that I find interesting. I found him through Instagram. Hang on, I got to look up his name because it's a little bit weird. It's Miko. I'm gonna butcher this. Heitinen.
I don't know if I know who that is.
He's the fella that's got like all the tattoos and stuff. And he shows cool moves.
Yeah,
and he applies it and like
he just got his black belt pretty recently.
Yeah, he did.
Yep. When he was getting famous, he was a brown belt.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I don't know, I don't know how he is as a competitor, but I do like the stuff he shows. You can continue. Yeah.
Yeah, no.
I'll
so
bring
he's
a picture
one of those ones that like you'll scroll Instagram and it looks a little hokey because he's just got a good sense of humor to it. And he'll like apply a technique and like he'll like sink the sub in and he'll like make a grimacy face and the guy taps and he lets off and he goes again and laughs it off.
Yeah,
like,
he
that's
does
good
some cool
fun,
stuff.
you know? Like he has good fun and you would probably come across a lot of that stuff on like his Instagram
he
or whatever.
A lot of
and
love
you'd go
on
like,
Instagram.
oh, this is whatever. I'm just going to scroll past. But he's one of those ones that's an exception. Like it's really good stuff. Like what was it? I call it a lion choke. I guess it would be more like a no-gi Ezekiel choke.
Yeah.
Where you use the gift wrap and then you punch across the neck and you just do that. I picked it up from him. I just saw it come through Instagram. Like, dude, that's cool. Like that would work.
I've seen a few rad moves from him. Another one, we're getting more towards the fringes, like we're guys that aren't necessarily professionals, but are, and with even these, like some of this stuff's going to work. Some of it's just fun to watch. But Miko is a cool one. We'll put his Instagram in the description. We'll link all this stuff.
Yeah.
Another one, do you ever see Yakuza BJJ for Life? Also a dude with lots of tattoos. He does a lot of like no gi, does some gi stuff.
Oh, okay.
But like his videos will be something cool. Like look at that.
Yeah.
Just cool little moves. I've again,
that's
more of a fun channel, but I think he was a competitor. I don't know a lot about him, but like some of his moves are super smooth and I dig them. So
we'll have to put that video right there up on the screen for people. But like what I like about that, what tells me that that's decent technique to watch is how smoothly it's executed. When you see somebody who's like, okay, grab, put this here, and then you're just let go and you assume the guy's just going to keep his arm there. You're like, no, nobody's going to do that.
Yeah.
Like when it's a fluid technique like that lets me think, okay, this is something that could work.
Yeah.
Not choppy, and then they're like, oh, look at this, like this amazing trick that nobody thinks of. Well, nobody thinks of it because that doesn't really work unless you've got somebody who doesn't know squat about what you're doing to them.
Yeah. A lot of his stuff is really cool. And again, I just discovered him from shorts. I believe he is or was a competitor. Like a lot of this stuff is tested out, but like some smooth moves, I really dig it. Again, I kind of put this in the category of like, I enjoy the videos. I don't study it with a fine tooth comb like you would with a Lachlan or Craig Jones or Gordon, any of the guys,
right?
The big guys, but cool stuff, good content.
I like that. And you touch on something that's important. I think why B Team has been fairly successful in their approach and rising is like, you have to have fun while you're doing this, right? Like it's like learning to play a guitar, or an instrument. Like if all you do is just like drills and like
drill classical the whole time,
I'm only doing this scale and like it's not fun. Like, you have to break away and do something like, I like this song, I'm going to work on it. Maybe above my level I'm at right now, but I'm going to enjoy it. Like you have to have the same thing with
All right.
content that you consume.
I got one for you then.
Okay.
So on that same note, right? What's something fun, maybe a move or something you saw on the internet that's silly and it works?
I'm going to say that lion choke that I mentioned.
The lion choke.
Yeah.
Explain it for people who aren't watching.
Right. So, okay. So I'm going to assume that people watching know what a gift wrap is. If you don't know, I'm sure you can look that up. Yep. Basic move. But you're basically in a side control position. You get the gift wrap around their head, and then instead of like going through and like hooking onto your own wrist and just securing the gift wrap properly, where you could lift and to go to the back tape or roll or go to an arm bar, they just go and they punch that over to the other side of the neck.
Yeah.
And then it's just this kind of scissoring action. Like when you see it, I found it from that Mikko Haitanen or however you pronounce his name. And it's one of those ones that like you could go by and be, oh, that can't work, can it? But it does.
It does work,
and it was silly, and the guy was just having fun with it.
Somebody has done that, and I probably won't find it right now.
I'm not saying like he was the originator of that by any means.
No,
probably
for sure.
Somebody might have been.
I'm sure. I want to say Gary Tonin, but I don't want to be wrong.
Yeah.
But it's been done at high levels. It's for real.
And that's one of those ones that I initially thought, well, that's silly, but I was like, no, that could actually work.
Yeah.
And then I tried it in the training room, and it did work. And then I would hit it on people and would be like, what the crap was that, man? Like, what is that? You know, like it's fun when you can find something that's obscure. Or like you find a buggy choke, you know, that's probably one of those ones.
That's the perfect example.
Yeah, a lot of people, especially seasoned jiu-jitsu people, would come across that on the, online and go, oh, that's garbage.
That's my favorite, by the way, because the jiu-jitsu comment section almost feels like Reddit, where everyone's like got this neckbeard opinion, dude, where they're like, well, actually, it's But I love when they get all angry about an Instagram move.
Mm-hmm.
And then, which generally speaking, but when they do, but the move's real, and they're like, that would never work. And then you're like, well, actually, that would work.
Yeah.
That's
a rare exception.
I know, that's a rare exception, but it's funny when it happens.
Yeah.
They're just so used to being like, nope, not
well,
real.
That's the thing. Like, and
the buggy choke's a perfect example of it.
Yeah. You get so used to the garbage you're going to scroll past that you just like, oh, that's trash. But every now and then you are going to find a gem in there, but you're not going to know it unless you're a seasoned grappler who can look at it and go, actually, that's not too far off. That could work, you know?
Yeah.
When you're so new and you don't know what's what and what could work and what isn't.
And we're back to the danger of the internet.
Exactly.
Right? Like, oh, that looks sick. I'm going to do that. And then you just get smashed because it's not real.
Yeah. I mean, as with everything you find on the internet, question it. Like, just question. Find another source.
Right.
Can they make it work? Are people using this in real tournaments, like at high levels? If not, there's probably a reason why it's not that consistent.
Right.
Like, I'm not saying it can't, but it's probably not going to work very often. You know what I mean? Only in like extremely specific contexts, like you can make it work. It's not that it's invalid of a technique. It's just that I don't know that I would fill my head and my muscle memory with it if it's not going to be there and reliable. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, that's just that internet thing, right? We've got access to all the world's knowledge, and it's like you got to be careful what you put in there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Especially if you're trying to like improve at something, whether it's filmmaking or, carpentry or jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
Yeah. You have to be careful. Which is why we're trying to like brainstorm some good sources, some good people, some good websites.
Yeah, and hopefully share with you guys what we've found is things we trust, because it can be hard. And that was one of the things I had listed on, my outline was like, take recommendations from trusted sources. So like if there's somebody that's fairly high level just in your own gym, like maybe there's a hobbyist, maybe they don't compete regularly, they don't have the accolades to prove it, but if they're like, oh yeah, this is a great instructional, I learned a lot from it, and they can say like, oh yeah, my K-guard stuff, I got that from this, and you're like, well, that guy's actually pretty decent at that, he kills me with it all the time.
Yeah.
Take that. That's probably a decent recommendation. You know what I mean? Not saying everybody's going to give you a good recommendation, but take personal recommendations, because like we said, people on the internet, they want clicks, they want likes, they want subscribers. Like they don't necessarily care about you. Whereas like your friend or your colleague or someone you meet at a tournament, you know, that you just kind of buddy up with.
Yeah.
You can kind of trust that a little bit more because they have nothing to gain out of it.
Right.
You
and
know
some
what
of
I
you,
mean?
I mean, like if you're in the comments, if you're on YouTube listening to this or whatever, like again, leave us some suggestions. Let us know where you get stuff. And you know, we could list so many people, just name drop people, but I think like in general, like if you go to, you know, some of the bigger competitions, you look at ADCC, you look at who's number one, you look at these matches on Flow or UFC Fight Pass, you're going to find a lot of talented professionals. And a lot of them have YouTube pages, and some of them, you'll be surprised to find don't have many more subscribers than like this channel or, you know, your channel. Just because they're professional athletes doesn't mean they're professional, you know, social media people.
Right. Yeah.
But a lot of them have good information, or like, you know, they have a signature move that's like their thing. And I always, I just think like that's a pretty good way to tell that you're going to get some good information.
Yeah. Don't always trust that, like, oh, well, they have, 200,000 followers, so this must be a good thing to trust this account. No.
Yeah. I've seen a few of those. We won't start internet beef, but we're like, maybe they're just a good social media person. It's not that like, there's some,
I got one particular one that comes up on Instagram that every time it does, I just roll my eyes and I'm like, oh, this guy again. It's so clickbaity. It's so just like obvious a reach for getting some likes and some comments, and those great comments where people are like 100% fire. Like, what?
That's a bad sign, by the way.
So dumb. Like you. Oh, there's 20 comments and they're all just like, I mean, that could be made by a bot. Like,
right. That's what we want on this video. Just fire emojis in the comments.
Just fill it
fire
with
emojis
fire emojis
and suggestions for grappling content. That's it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think another thing to circle, because we often talk mostly focused on jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
Judo.
Yeah.
Some sources for that. I know that there is Judo Fanatics, which is kind of like off the same platform as
I believe there's
Jiu-Jitsu
wrestling fanatics too.
I think you're right. Yeah. I've seen some wrestling related stuff even on Jiu Jitsu X. Really good platform. Check out Jiu Jitsu X.
I'm gonna have to look at this because I'm also
Check
not
out Jiu-Jitsu
familiar with
X.
Jiu Jitsu X.
And there's USA Judo, which is Jimmy Pedro and Travis Stevens' system. I was subscribing to that for a good long while. I mean, it's good content. You guys have heard me talk about Jimmy Pedro before. I mean, he is like one of the best coaches in judo in the world.
Yeah.
He happens to be an American, which is cool. But so he and Travis kind of put together this whole online curriculum of like they'll do a Osotogari encyclopedia, and they just do that, and they'll break it down to these are the movements. Here's how you do it when you're moving backwards, moving sideways, moving forward. Here's drills to build into. It can be like a lot of stuff with judo, a little bit dry, a little bit, I don't know, a little bit nerdy. Let's just say it, just a little bit clinical,
right?
Right. And that's fine. It's just
we touched on that a little bit in the last episode.
Yeah. And it's like it's good content though. That's my point. Yeah. So like if you're looking for some judo stuff, that's a good place to go. I think it's called USA Judo. We'll put the link in the
Everybody learns differently too. Some people might like step-by-step dry stuff. Some people might like, more.
A lot of people like Danaher and learn from him.
Sure, yeah.
Not for me.
He's got a proven track record. And, like when I can glean something from him in small doses, for sure. I just can't.
Same.
Again, and it's not him personally. Like sometimes it's fun to listen to him talk. It's hilarious.
Yeah.
But like, it just goes for a lot of that content, and it's just my personality and my attention deficit. But like, to each their own. Also like wrestling, that's easy to find stuff on because it's such an American institution. You've got Flow Wrestling, which is a good one. Plus, like every university, every high school, they're streaming matches, they're streaming clips. So, and I I watch some of that. I don't watch too much, so my whole algorithm goes wrestling. But
yeah, I know, right? You gotta be careful.
Easy to find.
Don't mess up the algorithm.
Yeah, easy to find, and easy to find good guys.
Yeah,
because the good wrestlers are known, or the good wrestlers have gone to the UFC, or PFL, or whatever.
If you're into judo and you have interest in like wrestling, or if you're into wrestling and you have interest in judo, because let's face it, they're a little bit more related than probably jiu-jitsu is to wrestling.
Yeah.
It's more stand-up, takedown based. Shintaro Higashi is a good one to check out on YouTube. He's got a great YouTube channel. He has his own podcast, the Shintaro Higashi Show. He's a judo guy, very, very knowledgeable judo guy. Has a gym out of New York City. But he has experience in wrestling, so he will often ditch the gi top and talk about how do you do judo in a wrestling context where all I can do is collar ties, underhooks, and things like that. I've learned so much cool stuff from him with that versus the traditional, like just the Japanese jiu-jitsu where we always do it or judo where it's always in the gi. I always have grips. Shintaro can kind of play that way between it, and he's very good at talking about combinations of stuff too.
And that's so good for modern grappling, modern no-gi grappling. Like it's mixed martial. It's it's like MMA, but without strikes. Like you got to know stuff. You got to know
the whole grappling thing. That's why we call this a grappling show. It's all just blurring. You know what I mean?
For sure.
It's not just Brazilian jiu-jitsu anymore.
Yeah, no, you've seen a lot recently. I know. One of the lightweights, he trains at B team a lot, but he's one of the top high school wrestlers, and he won his division in at ADCC at the trials. Yeah. Dorian, that's who it was.
ADCC is an interesting rule set because it is actually
Dorian Olivares.
Yes.
He's one of the top high school wrestlers. I mean, he's up there for, I think he's 66 kg, but yeah, he won, and it was like he just put on a wrestling clinic, really. A lot of side movement, a lot of attacking, but then retreating before the really jiu-jitsu guys would tangle him up or whatever. Right. Just like, and that, like you said, it plays well to that rule set.
It does, yeah.
But just like he knows when to attack, he knows when to retreat, he knows, a lot of movement that's just hard to keep up with. Yeah. And again, like you just said, that's modern grappling. Mm-hmm. So...
yeah, and you have you have rule sets like that, like ADCC, that's kind of breaking the tradition of IBJJF, right? And they're saying, no, we're going to kind of reward you if you have some good wrestling pedigree to bring into this game, so they don't punish you. Much like, I mean, even judo's very guilty of this with all their rules set changes and stuff like that, where you can't even touch the legs. It's like, well, you're not even letting wrestlers come in and even try, you know what I mean?
You're
just shutting them out. Yeah, exactly.
Why would you ignore half of them?
But they do that, because they want a specific, thing. Like we want judo to look like judo. We want jiu-jitsu to look like jiu-jitsu. IBJJF says, no, we want people on the ground choking each other in gis. Judo's like, no, we want people on their feet chucking each other with these big highlight throws, right? I like that ADCC is, it's no-gi, but it blurs it. It does a great job of saying, no, if you've got judo, you've got jiu-jitsu, you got wrestling, there's a place for you in this rule set, and we just want to have good grappling.
There's some good rule sets now, and that's why all these resources are important to grapplers like us, grapplers like our viewers, and it's like there's so many places to find it is because there's rule sets like EDCC. There's Eddie Bravo's, the EBI rules.
I love EBI
great rules. And it encourages action and encourages grappling. And, and in all of these, you can use judo, you can use jiu-jitsu, you can use your wrestling. So the more you learn, the merrier.
Yeah. And that's probably goes to, kind of the point of why is this topic we're even talking about important? Like, okay, if you train at a jiu-jitsu gym, maybe you have a guy that knows judo or a gal that knows judo, but unless you're in a big place, probably not. You can fill that void by going online, find some good instructionals. Go look up Shintaro, go look up Jimmy Pedro's system. Okay, now I can build some of my extra stuff that I can't get at my gym, and I can bring it in, and now everybody at my gym gets better because of it. That
is very true. My gym has a judo guy.
They do.
His name's Mike.
I got to meet this guy.
Yeah. No, I got to train with Mike a lot, which really helped. And I trained a lot of no gi. I mean, I did wear the gi sometimes, but I often didn't. But you'd show me stuff and show me just what you were just talking about, alternative grips,
right?
When you don't have collars, and that's super important. What's something you learned from the internet outside of our gym?
K-guard. Worm guard. Both of those things. And I would say that, Aim, you can tell me, but I would say that most people at our gym would say, oh yeah, Mike's good with that.
Oh,
like
100%.
Mike's gonna do worm guard. Mike knows K-guard,
Yeah.
But that's not something, as awesome as our gym is, as awesome as our instructors are, to teach us amazing stuff, a lot of foundational things. It's just not something they know. And to find those things that just fit with me and my style, I had to go find good sources.
That's what's beautiful about having access to all this stuff.
Yeah.
So, I know I learned a lot of that from you, and I know you learned K-guard from Lachlan.
Mm-hmm.
You learned worm guard from Cornelius.
Yeah, Keenan and Andris Brunovskis. He's a fun dude.
We'll put that in the links too. Keenan's a fun dude. You talking about Keenan?
Him and Andris Brunovskis.
No, they're fun.
He's a funny guy. And he's really good.
Yeah.
Like if you find, I have an instructional on Jiu Jitsu X from him. I think it's called Lapelapalooza. That's kind of where I picked up like the basics of worm guard.
Yeah.
Actually not from Keenan.
Oh, okay.
It works. It's fine, but like Keenan's got the master.
But again,
Encyclopedia.
because of the access to all this information, Mike studied it, came to Mike from those guys, came to the rest of the gym from Mike. So
and now our club has access to that.
Super interesting.
That we otherwise might not have.
Dude, that's why the landscape is changing so quickly. It's like you can learn so much. So
yeah, and then how it starts to interact, and then like you drop something new like that you picked up from a good instructional series into a gym that's not expecting it. Like I start throwing K-guard people, okay, now they've got to shift their game. When nobody's hitting you with K-guard like that all the time.
Right, I was just going to say that.
You don't worry about that.
They have to learn. They have to learn.
It pushes you to keep growing outside of your comfort zone. So if they want to deal with that, they're going to have to go, what is this thing? What is this K-guard? I need to understand it so I know what to look for and then adapt to my game. And everybody gets better. It's just really cool how much it's changed the growth trajectory of jiu-jitsu and grappling overall.
Absolutely.
I mean, these days you see even more and more people finding judo experience and relating that into grappling and like wrestling into their jiu-jitsu because they have access to it from other sources that, find another judo guy around here besides me. You're going to have to go
John
like
Bergeson.
60 miles, 50 miles away.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like,
for sure.
You can't just hope that you're going to have the person who knows it.
Well, and that was the problem 20 years ago. It's like, unless I ordered the VHS tape or the DVD, or unless I traveled to like Finishers in Bethlehem or somewhere far away in Pennsylvania, because everything's far away.
Yeah.
You didn't get that information.
Yeah. And now it's right on your phone.
Yeah.
Yeah. You can consume it anytime.
This is you know what I do? This is just a random thing I do, but a lot of nights before I go to jiu-jitsu, I watch jiu-jitsu.
I do too.
Do you do that too?
Yeah.
It's so like good. Like I'll probably just watch some rolls. I'll watch something fun. I'll watch a good competitive match, something.
Mm-hmm.
And this kind of off topic, but like kind of on topic. But it puts me in the mindset. It puts me in the mood. It gives me ideas.
Yeah, I think it's related to
it's
like
a random.
It's like
just a random tip.
You're consuming jiu-jitsu. It's like we were saying in the beginning. Like it's fun when you're into grappling to consume grappling. It becomes part of the lifestyle.
Yeah,
and it's like we said, if you're excited and having fun with it, then you're going to do it more. So if you find stuff that
you like,
that like gets you excited, like I'll look at an instructional that I have, like something from Jiu Jitsu X or BJJ Fanatics. I'll look through, like I'll pick a section and I'll look through it a couple times before class.
Yeah,
and then I'll be like, okay, I'm going to try to apply this in the live rolls.
Oh yeah,
nobody knows it.
Yeah,
but I'm just going to try to do it. It gets exciting to me because I'm like, maybe this work,
dude. I'll especially do it if I'm like, it's been a long day at work. I don't know if I'm up to going, I'm like, I mean, I'm gonna go. Like that's how I've been rolling. I have to have like consistency and stuff. But if I'm not feeling it or I'm feeling like tired or whatever, I will watch some good jiu-jitsu content, and then I'm like, okay, I gotta go.
Right.
I gotta go.
I want to go try
this.
it. Yeah.
Or if it's even just like, it's either I want to go try this, or even if it's just like, oh, that looks fun, I gotta go.
Right.
Or whatever it is, it's just a little motivator.
Yeah. I'm like that with playing guitar too.
Oh,
it's like I find a new song with a cool riff. I'm just like, ooh, I want to go try that. And I'll go pick up my guitar that I otherwise may have skipped past tonight, you know?
Yeah.
It's the same thing. Yeah. It's the same thing with any hobby.
Sure.
Like you get excited about it, but you want to have good content to fill it with. And I think we hit it.
Did we hit it?
I think we hit it pretty well. You guys tell us.
Yeah.
Did we do a good job giving you guidance on how to navigate the sea of
I hope so.
muck and stuff on the internet?
And of course, like I said, add suggestions to the comments. Send us a message or just leave a comment. And I'm sure we left out good stuff.
Oh,
I know I left out stuff I thought of because, again, I'm very kind of elitist when it comes. I just don't want to put bad things in my head. So there's still more channels that I watch. You can be the choice of what you like, what you watch. Just use this discussion as kind of a way to be more discerning, I guess.
Yeah, for sure. Just, be aware of what you're seeing and what you're consuming and make sure that it's good. And let this discussion spark new discussions with your peers, with your training partners, with your coaches, wherever you are, and say, hey, what are your favorite things to, places to learn? What's your favorite instructional and
conversely,
who do you follow on YouTube or Instagram or TikTok? You know?
And conversely, if you see holes in your game, or you feel like you go to the gym, maybe you have a great time, but you see that there's something you never end up doing. There's some, aspect of your game that just nobody plays. Well, there's a great thing to look up and learn from someone more experienced and someone who's available online for information.
For sure.
Yeah. Well, as always, thanks for watching the Toe Hold Show.
Yeah, thanks for watching, guys. We'll catch you here next time.
We'll see ya.